Have you ever wondered how the Targaryens first came into power? Aegon I Targaryen, also known as Aegon the Conqueror and Aegon the Dragon, was the first Lord of the Seven Kingdoms and the OG king on the Iron Throne. But why was Aegon hailed as the Conqueror? And how did he become the very first king to rule all seven kingdoms? Well, he went after each of the kingdoms and conquered them, establishing himself as their ruler. His conquests marked Westeros so much that time itself started to be measured, taking these series of events into account. So when you hear about events happening in 300 AC, it means it has been 300 years since Aegon's groundbreaking campaign. The abbreviation AC stands for After Conquest. Today in Fantasy Archive, we'll uncover the strategies he employed, the power of his mighty dragons, and the challenges he faced on his conquest. From the formation of alliances to the battles that shaped the future of Westeros, we'll explore the pivotal moments that defined Aegon's reign. So grab your swords and shields, and let's embark on an adventure. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to join us on this epic journey. Aegon's conquest happened around 300 years before the events we see in Game of Thrones. So let's step back in time to year 2 BC, which is referred to as before Aegon's conquest. Aegon, the son of Aegon and Rhaenyra Targaryen, now 25 in age, being born 27 BC, was expected to marry his elder sister Visenya to maintain the purity of their bloodline in accordance with Targaryen tradition. However, he made the unconventional choice of marrying both Visenya and his younger sister Rhaenys. It is said he married his older sister out of duty, but the second out of love. Interestingly, all three of them were already dragon riders even before they got married. In his youth, Aegon showcased his courage and might by coming to the aid of the Westeros Storm King Aegon Targaryen and the rulers of Braavos in repelling a Volantene invasion in Essos. This act of heroism demonstrates Aegon's lack of interest in resurrecting the once powerful Valyrian Empire in Essos. However, fate had bigger plans in store for Aegon. He started planning a daring attack on Westeros, dreaming of becoming the ruler of all seven kingdoms. Some stories say that he secretly visited different cities and castles in Westeros, observing the power and influence of each king and lord. However, historians disagree on whether Aegon actually visited Westeros before the invasion. Whatever the truth may be, it is known that Aegon sent ravens to each ruler, delivering a message. He declared that there could only be one king in Westeros. Those who pledged their loyalty to him would be spared, but those who resisted would face destruction. But when did the battle really start? Well, it all began when Aegon Targaryen, king of the Stormlands, sent a letter to Aegon, offering him his daughter's hand in marriage. The king also promised to give Aegon some lands that actually belonged to his rival, King Harren the Black of the Isles and Rivers. However, Aegon had a different plan in mind. He didn't want another wife, and he didn't want lands handed to him so easily. Instead, he came up with a bold counteroffer. He suggested his loyal friend, Orys Baratheon, as a suitable husband for Argilax's daughter. This would strengthen their alliance and ensure their victory. Unfortunately, Argilax was not pleased with this proposal. In a fit of anger, he sent Aegon the severed hands of his messenger. This act of defiance would not go unanswered. Aegon knew that he had to take action. He gathered his forces and sent out to conquer the Stormlands. This marked the beginning of a great conquest, filled with battles, alliances, and the power of dragons. When Aegon sent letters to all the kings and lords, informing them about his upcoming battle, some rulers like Queen Regent Shara Arryn and Princess Maria of Dawn tried to strike deals with him. They offered marriage and alliances, but none of them offered pledging their loyalty to Aegon. As expected, these offers didn't sway Aegon. Instead, he gathered his soldiers and his mighty dragons, and they set sail for Westeros. At that time, his army only consisted of less than 1,600 soldiers. When they arrived, something amazing happened. Some castles surrendered without a fight, realizing the futility of opposing the mighty dragons. Others put up a valiant resistance, but the dragon's fire was too fierce to withstand. Because of Aegon's bravery, Lord Edmund Tully of Riverrun was inspired to stand up against their enemies, the Ironborn. Soon, other powerful families joined the rebellion. They all marched south, joining forces with Aegon, and together they laid siege against the first king to fall, Harrenhal, and his massive castle called Harrenhal. And speaking of Harrenhal, Harren thought that his castle was impenetrable, but unfortunately he was wrong. Aegon warned the ruler to surrender, or else his family line would meet its end. But Harren, filled with pride, refused to back down. So Aegon did something incredible. He and his dragons flew over the castle, breathing fire that was so hot it melted Harrenhal's towers. This caused Harren to perish in the flames, and it forever ended his bloodline. Next, the two kings, Loren I Lannister, King of the Rock, and Mern IX Gardener, King of the Reach, had initially joined forces against Aegon. They had more men, so they thought they had a chance of success, but of course, when met by dragonfire, they lost a lot of men, and the Gardener bloodline perished. So one king was dead and the other decided to submit, promising to be loyal to him. Now Aegon's power grew even stronger as he made friends with powerful families like the Lannisters and the Tyrells, a powerful family who he awarded the lands of the Reach. Aegon then became the unquestioned ruler of the Westerlands and the Reach. Just as Aegon was prepared to conquer Dorne, he received surprising news. King Torrhen Stark of the North was marching towards him with a massive army. So Aegon decided to go and meet Torrhen instead, putting his Dorne plan on hold. Aegon and his soldiers met Torrhen's forces at a place called the Trident. But when Torrhen saw Aegon's dragons, he realized that defeating them would be impossible, and he bent the knee. Now remember the queen from the Vale who proposed an alliance through marriage but Aegon declined? Well, she gathered her army, ready to defy Aegon once and for all. But Aegon had a clever trick up his sleeve. He sent his sister Visenya on her dragon to the Eyrie. When the Queen Regent Shara Eren saw the magnificent creature, she was astonished and agreed to surrender. And finally, one place remained unconquered: Dorne. Aegon's sister Rhaenys led an army there, but the people of Dorne refused to fight in the open. They used clever tactics, vanishing into the mountains and launching surprise attacks. They even left their fortified places behind, with only the elderly and weak remaining. Rhaenys flew her dragon to Sunspear, the capital of Dorne, and found Princess Meria alone and demanded surrender. But Princess Meria, the ruler of Dorne, responded with bravery, declaring they would never yield. The Targaryen army had to retreat, unable to take control of Dorne. But hey, Aegon still had 6 kingdoms left to rule, so after praying for 7 days, the High Septon convinced Lord Hightower to let Aegon and his dragons inside the gates. Aegon accepted the faith of the 7 and became king. This was a big moment because it changed how time was measured in Westeros. And like we've mentioned before, from the point on, it was called AC, which stands for After the Conquest. In just 2 years, Aegon Targaryen became the ruler of the Andals, the Rhoynar, and the First Men. He was the king of the 7 kingdoms and the protector of the realm. Aegon built a new capital called King's Landing, where he first arrived in Westeros. It had a powerful iron throne made from the swords of his defeated enemies. It became the seat of his power and influence. While many fans were excited about the possibility of seeing the story of Aegon Targaryen the Conqueror as the next adaptation series, HBO surprised us with their official announcement. Instead, they confirmed that the next Game of Thrones show after House of the Dragon will be a Knight of the 7 Kingdoms, the Hedge Knight. This decision has sparked discussion among fans who were hoping for a deeper exploration of the series' history. Now it's your chance to join the conversation. What are your thoughts? Do you agree with Aegon Targaryen the Conqueror should have been the next adaptation series? Share your opinions below.